I think another really cool thing about both brands is sort of like the offline aspect, because if you've been to Denny's Tumblr, you see really glamorous like selfies at Denny's, and then Diesel's been sort of like the master of the meetups. I think you guys started with, well, we did this meetup in New York when Diesel just launched. I don't think any of us knew how many people would come to that. I think Tribeca Grand Hotel told us about 520 kids showed up. I think we expected about 50.
They hated us because they thought it was going to be like a little tiny cocktail event.
Yeah, there was like a fire commissioner just 2 blocks away, just waiting to break up Diesel, reboot, Tumblr launch, but it didn't happen. Everyone had fun, and but then you took meetups basically all around the world. I think there was one in Tokyo just a few days ago, right?
Tokyo, correct me if I'm wrong, Rochelle, Berlin, Milan, Amsterdam, New York. That's it. It's been really fun. I mean, there's all these Tumblr meetups all the time, by their community. So our premise is like, we're human beings, we're normal too. So we just hosted a meetup. We didn't make a big deal out of it, other than Diesel was so kind to sponsor free drinks, which was awesome. And we had an open invitation. There was no RSVP or anything like that. There was free drinks. We posted it on our Tumblr. We let word of mouth happen. And what was really interesting, and it was really funny actually, because we thought people would be there to see like Nicola Formichetti, or to see, because there was some celebrities who came, and the guests didn't really care. They just wanted to see each other. They wanted to meet the other Tumblrers that they've been following. And it just felt really great. And it was really fantastic, too. Again, Diesel being so brave about this. We had no branding whatsoever. And in Berlin, people were saying, who threw this party? And it actually worked to our advantage that we didn't do any branding, because then people were curious and people asked themselves, and it didn't feel gross and, overly commercial. It felt like this organic, great, place to meet. And I think that's why they've been so successful. It's just giving people a chance to physically be around each other. And I think so many Tumblr bloggers follow one another that they're fans with each other. And they want the chance to meet. And we want to give them a chance to do that with free drinks.
And they look really cool. Like when you see these kids at like Diesel meetups, I'm like, wow, I wish I could go to a party like this every single day.
Yeah.
Amber, can you tell us more about like your interactions with like real users or real, Denny followers?
Yeah. To go back to like the selfies you were talking about, my second most successful text post was threatens to post a Denny selfie. And obviously you all know what selfies are. People go to Denny's and they'll take pictures of themselves with like a Denny's menu or the sign, and I'll always like interact with them and reblog them and say like, wow, we look cute together, and I'll always be sure to hashtag it like pretty cute, no makeup, no filter.
I think part of that is, and I think this is something also that both brands are doing really well, is on Tumblr, we don't differentiate between brands and users. So, it's not a separate kind of page than what a user has. So really important, to maintain your brand voice while also acting like a user. I was at a wedding a couple weeks ago, and I have this like 15-year-old friend, which whatever, and she loves Tumblr, and so we were at the brunch. I was hungover, she was not, because she's 15, but she was like asking me, every detail about Tumblr. Like she just like is so in love with it, and she doesn't know like who my clients are, who my accounts are, and she was just like, do you by chance follow Denny's? I was like, oh, do I follow Denny's? Yes. And she just dead serious. She was like, is that really Denny's? Like she was positive that it was just
people
like,
ask us all the time if we're
totally
real.
Yeah. She just like, and so I think they've got it so right that people really feel like they're one of them. So, sort of bringing yourself to be on par with your users and to be one of them has been just crazy successful for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's one of the fun things about being on the advertising marketing side is that brands have to act more human, and brands have to act like a human being versus this nebulous brand that people don't trust brands anymore. Like people don't trust banks anymore. It's you have to act like a human being. And what's been really fun is that recently Rochelle and the team sent out postcards and little gifts to our Tumblr like the people that we thought were doing really amazing stuff on Tumblr. And it was so old school. It's like put a stamp on something and put it in the mail and mail it. And we had to coordinate that it had to mail the same time that Nicole was in Italy, so that I had the Italian stamp. That was really hard. I don't know how she did that, but it was so fun to do something like that, to go back to like a very human one-to-one element. And one of my favorite posts was this girl who got it, and she said, I just let out a little scream, and she posted it, and I really felt so excited to have that heartfelt. You're just in marketing today. I feel like you're just changing minds of one person at a time. And if you can change minds one at a time, then it just snowballs much more than trying to convert a million people. It's just that one person, and that one person will convert for you 100 people.
I mean, think about how much time people are spending submitting art to the Diesel page, and there's Denny's fan art is like incredible. You're looking at one person that's spending 2-3 hours engaging with your brand's content. That's way more valuable than a million people putting in an email address to get like a coupon or something like that. So, really looking at the value of individual people and then comparing it to sort of the big picture.
Yeah, I mean, and let's talk about, lastly about like Tumblr kids in general, because it's a little bit of a different generation. They're 13, 14, 15, 16, but they're so involved. They love creating art. They love submitting. Do you feel like it's, do you feel like it's completely different generation that you work with before, of how they interact with brands?
I was really surprised because we thought that we were hitting that, millennial teen generation that was really active on Tumblr. But our meetups have proved ourselves contrary to that. I think that the good thing about being a fashion brand is fashion brands, again, haven't been inclusive for a long time. So we're bringing in people who want to participate in fashion that have never had the chance to, or never had the voice to do so. Some of the artists that we found on Instagram, we're installing exhibitions with them all over the world. One became the face of our fall-winter campaign. One, Zach, now works with Two Hustlers. So we found, we're actually able to truly engage with them. So I was really surprised that our meetups do have people in their 30s in it. There was one woman there who was probably 70,
Right.
who came, and I thought, oh my God, is she here to pick up her great grandson? But she was a Tumblr blogger. So I feel like, as long as you have the right psychographics, those people will find you because they believe in what you believe in. And it's been a really pleasant surprise that we've hit such a big age group. And we also allow non-21-year-olds to come to our meetups. So they're not excluded from it too. But we're seeing, a nice generation